It's recording. Exercise 4E, area of a circle. So what do you have? A title, 2 formulas, and a diagram. One diagram. Circle with radius. Circle with radius labeled formula pi r squared. Area of a circle is equal to pi r squared. Area of a circle is pi r squared. Exercise 4E. Exercise 4E. 4E, very good. You drew it. You wrote it. You wrote it. Pi r squared. Area of a circle. Pi r squared. Area of a circle. 2 formulas. Area of a circle is pi times radius squared. All right. Assuming you've copied the formula, here we go. I want to highlight 2 common mistakes. Common mistakes with the formula. So I'm going to write the formula again. The area for a circle is equal to pi times... listening. Don't speak while I'm speaking. It's disrespectful. Thank you. Area is pi r squared. 2 common mistakes that students tend to do. 1. When they see this r squared, what do you think they often do? Say this was a radius of 3. If r was 3, what do you think they commonly do? Mike?
They square r and then times by pi.
Which is actually the way to do it. But when they say square, what does square mean?
Double.
They double. That is a common mistake. So in this case here, this is what most students will do. They will double 3 and write 6 and then do on the calculator pi times 6. That's already wrong. That square does not mean times 2, does not mean double. It means you are multiplying itself. Shh. Thank you. You are multiplying itself. So technically, it shouldn't be 6. What should it be? 9. Very good. Okay, so it should be 3 times 3, and this should have been 9. So when you're writing it down, I do want you to show the intermediate step. It's pi times 3. And notice I'm putting the brackets around it because I'm going to remind you the second mistake the students do. So the answer, yes, it is pi times 9. Second mistake. So number 1, students are doubling, especially when it's a 2. Okay, when the number is a 2. Mistake number 2. Most students do not follow BODMAS. So, depending on how the question works, they will sometimes type in their calculator, pi, especially if you're doing it on your Google calculator. Don't do it on your Google. Have an actual scientific calculator, external one. Because what they will do, this is what you guys would do. Shh, listening. Pi times 3, okay? And they'll press the answer button, and whatever that answer is, say it comes out like that, then they press the square button. What's wrong with doing that already? Why is that wrong?
You're squaring pi times 3, not 3.
Very good. So if you're listening to that point there, if you're doing it on your Google calculator or any other calculator besides this, and you type in pi times 3, press the enter button, and then you square it, that's wrong. The answer has to be that you square the 3 first before you multiply 2 pi. So if anything on your Google calculator, you should be doing 3 squared and then times pi. That's okay. All right? But the order does matter. So 2 mistakes there. 1, most students are doubling and not following BODMAS. Okay? Other than that, that is your 1 rule. So in our particular problem right now, let's work with this one over here. You've got a circle. They ask you in this question, Find the area of the circle correct to 2 decimal places. I've got a circle. The area of a circle is pi times radius squared. What is my radius? What is my radius in this question here? Let's go with Josh. In this diagram that I have up on my screen, what is my radius equal to? You don't know? Okay, well, I'm going to have to check your homework again. You didn't submit, did you? You have. Radius. You need to go back and understand what a radius is. So whatever you're doing, pay attention, please, and copy these notes. Next person, Luca. What is a radius?
2 centimeters.
It is 2 centimeters. Radius is simply from the center of a circle to any edge on the circle. It's in the diagram, it says 2. So when we ask, what is the radius? Radius of this particular diagram is 2. So when you're putting in your formula, what should you be writing down in the next step? Let's go with, who haven't I picked over here? Let's go with Eloise. We know the radius is 2. So using the formula, what should I write in the next step?
Wait, where?
I know the radius is 2. We've got the formula. What should I be writing in my next step? Yeah. Which we write as 2 squared. What's at the front? What am I missing? Yeah. No. All right. I'm going to move on. All right. Year 8. Listening. Year 8. Year 8. Can I have your eyes and ears towards the board, please? Because I get a bit frustrated with this. Not because this is hard. The fact that if you're finding this hard, if I'm asking you these simple questions, which I'm trying to guide you, by the way, and you can't do this, it's not that the maths is hard, it's you. It's the fact that you're not even writing this formula down, you're not listening to what I'm saying, because it's only 2 steps. Formula, pi r squared. Everyone can write that. That takes you about 1 minute. You can't say you can't write that down. Number 2, what's the radius? You've done that in the last exercise. That was due as part of your homework, what a radius and a diameter is. Ask 2. The diagram is not that confusing because they gave you 1 number. There's no other numbers to confuse you there. Plug in what radius is. So radius is r. If r is 2, it's 2 squared. So when I write it down, when I ask what is the next step? Question method answer, pi. Next to r means times. R squared, which is 2 squared. Type in your calculator. You're not even doing it by hand. You're not even doing what pi times 2 times 2 is. And you're going to tell me that in that step you don't know how to do. There is no way that is true. Everyone here should be able to do that step 100%. But I promise you that even at my year 10 level, I'll still get questions. Students who can't do that. Why? Why is it that in Australia, when we're talking about pi r squared, we can't do it at the age of 15, 14? Yet in Asia, or in China, or any other school, when they say, in the States, when we're talking about countries and how we do mathematics, why is it that they can do algebra at year 7 level, and for them this, they would have done in primary school? We're talking about mathematics being really hard in Australia, is it? Or is it the fact that the level of concentration and the level of motivation is lacking? That's the difference. It's not hard. It's not that you don't have the ability. When you say, I can't do maths, or maths is too hard, or I'm not a maths person, is it? How many times would you actually say to yourself, it's because I'm unmotivated? It's me. I just don't want to do it. That's why I can't do it. How many times have you been honest with your parents when you say, oh, I couldn't do the maths, that's why my grades are low? Or should you have said, I just wasn't really paying attention, I don't care. How many times have you been honest with yourself and instead you blame the teachers and you say that, yeah, the reason why I can't do maths is, because when I hear that, that frustrates me, because something like this, and I teach every time I get 2 measurements, every student should be mastering this. This is one of the easiest topics, and that's why we left it to the end of the year. We do the algebra, we do the hard stuff at
the start. We do fractions, we do decimals, getting you to multiply by hand, and yet when we do measurements, why is it that if I ask you what's the area of a parallelogram, how many of you can actually say now, I do know that? These are like one of your most basic shapes. And if you don't know that, what does that mean? Is it hard? Or is it lacking motivation? So motivation is you. You hold that power. You control what you're able to do. I'm here to guide you. It disappoints me when I realize that no matter what you say, I can't teach that any more simpler. I cannot teach, write that down, plug in a number any easier than that. And if you're going to say that it's the teacher's fault, that's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And the fact that you can say at the year 10 level, when they say, I don't know the area of a square or the area of a circle, that is crazy. Because those are just common knowledge and facts. But you will see that on the game shows when they put up the points, what's the $1 million question? One of these formulas would come up. And it's crazy that the general public doesn't know that. Yeah, you know how to do 2 plus 2 or double 25, but you can't say, what is the area of a circle? That's nuts. That's why for me, it's like, American and Australian, we should be able to do it. Why is it that we're not ranked there? And that to me is crazy that we in Victoria are apparently the education state. You know what that means? Apparently we are the best when it comes to algebra, mathematically. We as a state, on average, is the best of all states. But what I just described, does that feel like the best to you? That doesn't. As a maths teacher, as a teacher teaching it to the next generation, I am appalled. I feel like it should be better than that. We should have better expectations. Yet our expectation is, here, you spend the whole exercise learning one formula, plug in the radius and the diameter, and yet you still say, it's too hard, sir. I haven't finished my homework. That's when I get disappointed. I mean, I can track along and play along with you guys and say, yeah, cool. That's all right. I'll teach you. But deep down inside, I just feel very disappointed. I feel like, no. Everyone here is more capable than that. Why are we putting our bar so low and say, this is the standard? That is not you. You are beyond that. You are much better than that. We can be much better than you. That's when I get disappointed, especially when we do something else. And I never usually give you a lecture about something like that. But when it comes that simple, I do get a bit disappointed that everyone here should be able to do it. Algebra, fractions, I get it. That's different. We can take time to learn that. But this one, everyone starts to say, you all have a calculator. You all can write a formula. You can all identify what a radius is. Because I'll tell you what a radius is. And you plug in. There is almost no such thing. You can work at Macca's and make a burger. You can totally tell me what the area of a circle is. There is no way that you can tell me with confidence or tell your parents with absolute pride and say, I don't know how to do it because it's too hard. You can't say that. That's just absurd. But as much as you might laugh about it or find it's humorous, that is actually reality. I hear that. It's very common. That's the sad part to it. Okay? So, here we go. Back to this one again. We've got pi times 2 squared. 2 squared is 4. And on your calculator, I do want you to have a scientific calculator separate. Don't use the Google, because you have to get used to using a handheld one, especially as you're building your calculator skills for the senior levels. Okay, so here we go. Pi times 4. You should be getting 12.566370614. You don't have to write them all. But the question asked is you to correct to 2 decimal places. Very good. 12.57. Check the next digit after the second one. That's a 6. So you increase the last digit by 1. So it's 12.57. That's because I'm using a year 12 senior calculator. Yep. And only for year 11 and 12, and only in Australia. And after that, you'll never ever use it again. So don't buy it brand new. Buy it secondhand, because you only use it for 2 years and then...
How much are they?
Well, if you buy it brand new, I think it's $250. You can buy it for secondhand at $80 or $100.
Okay, so, yeah, I know. Buy secondhand. Trust me, you only use it for 2 years and you'll sell it. Unless you got siblings, then you pass it on to your siblings. I haven't finished. What am I missing? I got 12.57, but what am I missing?
Centimeters squared.
And what's the proper way of reading it?
Squared centimeters.
Very good. Squared centimeters. Don't forget your units. Very good. Last example for today. How would you do it? If I gave you a quarter of a circle in A. So again, they want you to find the area. How would I do this question, Mike?
So it would be, so A would equal pi times r squared divided 4.
Very good. Mike is correct. Why did he say, listening? Shh. Why did he say pi r squared divide 4? Someone explain to me. Yes, Logan.
It's a quarter of a circle.
It's a quarter of a circle. So remember, this formula, pi r squared, only gives you the full circle. So if you imagine this as a full circle, the formula will give you this entire area. But I don't want the full circle. I only want a quarter of it. So to only get this quarter, I need to divide it into fourths. That's why he's dividing it into fourths. He's taking the full area, divided into 4 pieces. That's why the formula is divided by 4. Okay? So now, case to use the formula, I need to know my radius. Do I know my radius in the diagram?
Yes.
What is the radius?
3.
Very good. The radius is currently 3 centimeters. So when you use your formula, see, notice I've got the formula, then I write my approach. So it should be then pi times r squared divided by 4. When you're doing this on your calculator, what do you have to be careful of? Especially the ones on the Google Calc.
That you square r and not pi.
Very good. What I don't want you to do on your CAS or the calculator on Google is you type pi times 3 and then you press enter. Or if you type pi times 3 and you press the square button, what it will do is it'll square that. Okay, we don't want to square the 3 pi. We want to square just the 3. So what you should be typing on your calculator is you should be doing this one first. BODMAS. Okay, so it's indices first before multiplication. So you should be doing 3 squared. And remember, squaring means times itself. So, very good. So it should be pi times 9 divided by 4. And now that you got rid of the square, it doesn't matter about the order. Multiplication division is the same. So you can actually type pi times 9 and then press divide 4 and it's okay. Or if you did pi divide 4 and then times 9, the answer should be the same. Doesn't matter. Okay, so in terms of ordering, times and divides the same, or divide and times is the same thing. Okay? Let's do that on our calculator, see if you get the same answer as I would.
7.07.
All right, let's see. I've got pi times 9 divide 4, and that is good. 7.068583. Rounding to 2 decimal places is 7.07. And what am I missing? Squared meters. Very good. There you go. That is today's lesson. Even though my video is 18 minutes, it's probably got a bit of a lecture and spiel there. Hopefully for those who didn't hear it, watch it again. I hope it motivates you. Be the best version you can be.